What is up? What's going on? Hey man, you guys are in here early. Love it. I tried to be as much as on time as I could possibly be. How's it going? Phantom White, what's up? Takano, heyo. Gem Love first. Yeah, I was saying I forgot. I totally need to add a bot command that intercepts any command that looks like a command that doesn't work and lets people know the command they can use to see more commands. So I need to wire that up for sure. Phantom Way, LOL, commands, yeah. So how's it going? Man, maybe I put the after first, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I need to, well, I don't think I wrote it. I mean, other bots that I wrote, I had that command in there, but I'm trying to use the open source one that I have and have been supporting, and so I didn't add that yet, but I totally should add it and contribute it back to the open source version for sure. Because it's super easy. All you do is like on a new message, if it starts with exclamation point, then you just check your commands. And if it's not there, you just say, hey, didn't recognize that, but here are all the ones you can use. But yeah, awesome. Takano finally got the tutorial done. Yeah, I saw it, man. That was pretty involved, man. I looked at it on Instructables as well as on Reddit already. That points to Instructables. That was pretty involved, man. I was like, oh man, I don't think I would trust myself. And you had all the disclaimers about if you don't know what you're doing, get an electrician. Yeah, I would be like, I'm still gonna do it. But I know that I should probably consult with an electrician first, because like, I don't know, I'm not the greatest like at, I don't know, wiring? Well, low voltage, yes. High voltage, no. So yeah, but looks awesome. Looks interesting too, for sure. Good to know if I ever need to convert anything to rack mount, how to get the power inside of the case. That's awesome, man. Gem Love at Techno Tim found your Twitch channel. Let me turn this down a little bit. Because of your YouTube channel, I needed info and you helped me so much. Awesome. Awesome. Well, it worked. Awesome. That's awesome. What did you need help with? Hopefully it was something I addressed in a video or in a comment. I try to address all my comments. I'm usually a day or two behind, kind of like I am in Twitch comments usually. I'm just a little bit behind, but I try to address them all. So hopefully, Gem Love, hopefully I answered your question. If not, you can ask it here. That's for sure. And that's something I want to start, I guess, promoting more in Discord too, is just to say like, hey, like, yeah, I don't mind if you mention me at all. Like, I know sometimes I'm like, hey, you don't need to mention me. It's totally cool. Like, I'm not mad or anything. But yeah, the best time to get, I guess, direct one-on-one help would be this right here. So yeah, if there's anyone in Discord who's like, hey, I need help and I'm not around, know that I'll be here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So anyway, but happy to help anytime. And I try to respond to everyone and everything. So I'm trying to be everywhere at once, like Discord, Twitch, YouTube. So, but anyways, yeah. Let me know which one it was. Great YouTube channel, thanks. Darokis 2X. Hey, that looks like a newer name, I think. Hopefully you're doing well. Welcome. Yeah, for real. Good YouTube channel. Thank you. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, am I going too far off in the deep end? I don't know. I wonder about that sometimes, about like how far like down the containerization and or rancher, Kubernetes rabbit hole do I go? I feel like I'm pretty far down there, but I got something coming on Saturday that it's still in the rabbit hole, but a little higher up. And then the next one after that is going to be awesome, because I'll have completed something I wanted to complete for a long time. So, but yeah, thank you so much. Takano, just need to add that since I don't want people to try something that can get them killed and isn't too hard, is only screwing in 2 live wires and you're done. Yeah, the whole disclaimer, like, don't try this at home. That's like, basically, I think that covers all. Just say, don't try this at home, whatever you do. And the people who are really going to do it are still going to do it. But the people who do end up doing it and something happens to them, then you're just like, yeah, I said, don't try this at home. Yeah. But it looks awesome, man. Looks awesome. Looks super profesh too, man. Yeah. So Gemlove, so I really need help to set up streaming settings, and your video was very clear. Oh, thank you. I'm betting my my Mac one or my OBS one. My OBS one, I don't like that one, only because it was like one of the first YouTube videos I ever did, and I look back on it and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, yeah. But anyways, I'm glad it helped, and I'm glad I brought you here. If it helped you, that's awesome. But when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, like nails on a chalkboard. Gemlove, so I really need to, oh, I already read that. By the way, in your video, you said you stream on Twitch yourself, and if I had questions, feel free to stop by and ask. Exactly. This is kind of like, lately it's just been open house, really, for anyone to ask any questions or talk about things they're working on, anything related to tech, gaming, streaming, you name it. A lot of things are talked about. But yeah, for sure. If you have more questions, you can obviously answer me. I treat this as kind of a open house lately, or Q&A, AMA, I guess, for the most part. AMA about anything that I've talked about somewhere else. But yeah, for sure. You're definitely welcome. You can definitely ask questions or anything like that. Easy TSA. Hey, Tim, my code server, the terminal is stuck on starting. Is that a bug or something I'm doing? When I tried to open the terminal, it just gets a solid cursor, and it's showing starting. So I think you're talking about you're running code server, and then when you open the terminal inside of code server, which is like the VS Code terminal, when I tried to open the terminal, it just gets a solid cursor. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Well, look, I mean, a couple of things. Like, did you give it root access? Did you? There's a couple settings in there where you can enable a root user and a root password. Did you turn that on or not? And then also, are you sure like you mapped your volumes okay? And is it only the terminal piece of code server that's having this problem and everything else works okay? Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, let me know. TFAT, hey, hello Tim, how's it going? Craven, what's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, it was the OBS vid, LOL. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found me. Yeah, I know that OBS 26 is coming out soon too, I saw, which is awesome. I don't know what is included in it, but if there are a ton of things different, I might do another one too. We'll see. But yeah, thank you. Takano also doesn't void your warranty as you unplug and remove everything. Yeah, I saw that on Reddit. Someone commented right away and was like, hey, why didn't you solder this in? And I think you fired right back. Well, it doesn't void the warranty. I was like, oh yeah, totally. That's awesome. Yeah, there you go. There you go. People were asking why I didn't solder directly to the board, and that point your warranty is proof. Yeah, for sure. I saw that on Reddit too. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm always, I don't know, kind of scared to wire things myself. I mean, high voltage, not low voltage stuff. I'll go crazy on that. But like, I don't know, something about electricity, I'm just like, worries me a little bit. Like sometimes when I've changed outlets in the house, I've turned off the whole entire circuit breaker because I'm away. I'm just like, and I have the tools to check to see if wires are live or not, but I'm still, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it looks awesome. Hey, that's a good call. Maro Monty, check the developer tools in Chrome and look for some errors in the console. Good call. That was a web developer move right there. I know that one. Yeah, Chrome Dev Tools will tell you so much, sometimes too much. But yeah, that's a good call. Look in there for some errors too. The Rockus 2X. Great Proxmox video. I need help with Proxmox in Windows 10, trying to set up GPU pass-through. Once I switch over to OVMF, UEFI, I cannot boot. Yeah, I know this problem, and I think it's a little bit, so I know the problem, and the easy fix is to just create a new Windows machine with UEFI instead of BIOS. I know in that video I made it look super easy to just like switch it over, and I think that was kind of a mistake on my part. And you probably could create new disk, convert it over, and do a whole bunch of craziness. But if you haven't invested that much time in your Windows 10 VM, create one with UEFI real quick. It, it's, going to take the 15, 20 minutes to set it up. Most of that is just waiting on it to finish. But after that, yeah, you definitely need UEFI to pass through your GPU. And yeah, that video, I know it's a pain. And I saw that mistake, and I just don't even know how to address it besides making another video someday. But you can't do that. It's not like code. That's the crazy thing. I realized about YouTube videos is like, yeah, you can work on videos forever, and you can iterate on what you have until you release it. And then once you release it, it's out there, and there's no fixing it. There's no changing it. And as a software engineer, a software developer, that's kind of, that's like building games back in the day, and like software back in the day. Not even software. I guess I would say games. Imagine creating like an Atari or a Nintendo game or a Super Nintendo game without internet, without patches or anything, and you create it and you just let it go. And you hope there aren't any bugs or huge bugs or glaring bugs. Well, that's kind of how I feel like with YouTube videos. Sometimes I do make mistakes in videos. I try to correct it in the backing documentation. But after you let them go, there's no easy way to let people know, like, hey, try this instead. You can update descriptions and stuff like that, but most of the time people don't even read the description. So I tried to do it in my GitHub repo. So anyways, long story short, just try creating a new Windows VM with UEFI right off the bat, and it should be fine. TFAT, I'm able to solve the low RAM issues I've had with virtual machines on my Proxmox node. It happened because I added memory to hot plug devices. Immediately, I untick it, the VM started having access to allocated RAM. Interesting. So you added memory to hot plug devices. I don't think I've ever done that. That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't had RAM issues that I know of. Other than VMs just taking RAM, or I don't know, or it looked like it's using all RAM because I don't have ballooning drivers or something like that. But yeah, that's interesting. Good to know. Wyatt, do you have a video covering multiple clusters in Proxmox? I have two nodes added. I have two nodes and added them to a node. Seemingly, when a node goes down, it makes the other node unresponsive. Ping doesn't work. Is that normal? Yeah, that's a good question. I do not yet have videos yet on Proxmox clustering. Definitely in my backlog and on my list. I got a couple more things I need to complete on this path I'm going down, but definitely on my short list for sure. Because those are some of the, not to show all my cards, but I don't mind. So a lot of that high availability and clustering or anything like that, just continuity in general is content I want to cover. But I have to have a good baseline of things first so that I can go there. But yeah, I definitely want to cover it. I don't know if that's normal, but when I get there, I will know if that's normal or not. But I'm sure people in the Discord too have done clustering with Proxmox, and they might have a more informed opinion than I do. And if that's your thing, like, we got a Discord server here full of people too who'd love to help out. Toastface Grilla, hey Tim, how's it going? P Diddy, how's it going? Hey Tim, I was able to set up reverse proxy setup and it seems to be working, but I'm not able to get to the traffic dashboard. I know you mentioned that making a DNS host entries, but it doesn't seem to work, or I'm doing it wrong. Okay, so real quick, if you can't, so one, if you set up your traffic dashboard on traffic.example.com, hey, Ghosty, Ghost G. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. So if you set up, traffic.example.com, the easiest thing to do is go on your own machine and edit your host file. So on Linux, it's going to be etc host, and same on Mac. On Windows, it's something weird like C Windows System 32 drivers host, something rather, but look it up. And then you want to modify that and add an IP for a resolution for traffic.example.com, and then the IP of your metal LB balancer IP that's exposed. And then once you do that, you want to verify that. So then you want to ping-a or however you resolve your host, try to ping that machine. Obviously, it's not going to respond, but then you'll see the response back coming from that middle LB load balancer IP. And if that's not happening, that's the first step to fixing it, is make that work. And it won't respond to a ping, but what it will do is should resolve to the IP of that middle LB load balancer IP that you exposed. That's step one. And then step two is once that does resolve to that middle LB load balancer IP that's getting exposed, then you just go to that URL. And so now your local machine thinks that, hey, traffic.example.com is this IP address over here. Because as part of the resolution order, it's going to look at host first, and then it's going to look at DNS. So, but yeah, hopefully that helps. Hey, there are a couple of follows in there. C-Can, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Chakwa. I don't know how to pronounce that one. CHWKA. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you. Let's see here. Wyatt. The web console and everything drops. And you're going back, you're talking about clustering. Yeah, that I don't know. Something doesn't seem right. Because clustering I know works. Like I've seen lots of videos on people doing it. I just haven't done it myself yet. But I don't think it's normal that, when a node goes down, the other node is unresponsive too. That doesn't seem like clustering's working. Unless it's like, I doubt it's like this, but sometimes, you gotta have 3 nodes. I don't think Proxmox is like that. But things like, I don't know, Kafka or something are. But anyways, that doesn't seem normal. I'm not sure, but I would love to cover that at some point too, as far as videos and tutorials for sure. Takano, the amount of settings that you can edit on Instagram using the internal menus are mental. Yeah, they are. They're totally, man. Instagram, they're doing a lot more too lately, it seems. A lot more on the web, which I totally get why they do. And yeah, like I know what you mean. Is it Instagram or is it Twitter that has like a bajillion notification options where it's like you have like 15,000 toggles to turn on and off for notifications, and I'm just like, I want all off, but you have to do it like every time. But yeah. The Rokus 2X, I tried that, but I not see the CD-ROM ISO to boot from. And this is going back to GPU pass-through. Yeah, that's weird, because I think Proxmox has, just a simple wiki page, like most of their documentation we talked about before. That shows how to do UEFI boot, but really you need to add another partition for UEFI, and then you should see the CD-ROM ISO. If not, change it to IDE, or if it's on SATA or SCSI, change it to IDE. Just you might have to play with it and guess, or look at Proxmox documentation. But it should be able to if it's on should be able to if it's on IDE. That's usually the fail-safe for me. Hey, there's a new name. Looks like, is that Jorge Posada? Jorge Posada, welcome. How's it going? Maybe it's a newer name. I don't. Maybe you've been here before, but I don't remember seeing it. But hey, how's it going? Anything creative, code, writing, videos, etc. It's not just done. It's out in the world and no longer yours. Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. It's hard letting go of stuff. I guess being a software developer, because code, once I release it, I still have the option to update it, change it, do whatever I want. Not so much on videos though. But yeah, code, I can always fix something later, and maybe that's just what I keep thinking in the back of my head. But I can't. Even shortly after recording the video, I'm just like, that's it. There's only been 2 times ever that I've gone back and fixed something, and it wasn't because it was wrong, it's because I didn't include it Things that are wrong are hard for me to know until way later. But yeah, because most of the time I'm doing it step by step as I create the videos. But yeah, there are mistakes. Mistakes will be made. But yeah, Jorge Pasada, which is good because if you keep it to yourself, it's largely useless. Yeah, I like it. That's the words to live by. I like it. Marmoto. Oh man, Mauro Monti. Hey Tim, do you have some kind of flow set up, develop, do version control, aka push to GitHub, GitLab, and use CI/CD to deploy to Rancher? I'm trying to set up something at home, and I'm curious if you have something like that already running. Yes, I absolutely do. And you're touching on some of the stuff that I'm going to cover real soon. And yeah, exactly that. So I always say that the reason why I started using, Kubernetes or Rancher was to be able to build and deploy and push and maintain my code like I do, at work or wherever I work, or like the public cloud. And so, one of my goals of going to Rancher 2 was I want Kubernetes because I want to be able to have a CI/CD pipeline that also includes Kubernetes. Prior to this, I still had a CI/CD pipeline, but it didn't include Kubernetes. So it still included, git push, git tag, pushing that code up to whatever version control or source control, GitLab or GitHub, and then a CI system picking it up, building it, testing it, putting that code inside of a Docker container, building that Docker container, pushing that to a registry, and then having, whatever orchestration framework you have, then pull down that image and put it in place. So yeah, absolutely. I do have it working and it is running. Even this bot that's running in this channel is running on my own infrastructure in Rancher. And I push updates to it all the time. So, and they're fully automated, 100%. Once I git tag and push that tag up, 5 minutes later, my code's in production. And so, and it's about, almost 100% running here. The thing that isn't is actual source control. And technically, I guess the CI, but I have something coming for that too. So, long story short, I do have something and I'll be able to share it pretty soon, for sure. Because I'm definitely interested in that. And I think a lot of people are, I think that a lot of people start to see the value, at least software developers start to see the value of Kubernetes when they can actually get their code into their own production, whatever that may be, in an automated fashion. So yeah, I'm right there with you. And I got something coming soon. It's just not ready yet. But hopefully you think it's awesome. So yeah, great question. Takano Discord, thank you. There's my Discords. Jorge, there you go, thank you. See Windows System 32 drivers at C host. I was so close. Thank you. TFAT, the issue you have with your Proxmox cluster is not normal. I have 2 nodes on my cluster. I've never had such issue. Thank you for chiming in there, because I haven't had a ton of experience yet with Proxmox clustering yet. That is. So yeah, CHWKA. I would love to be able to pronounce that, but I'm not sure how. So you'll have to tell me how. Chaka? I'm gonna say Chaka. Chaka, hey, how's it going? Divided by 0. I must now wait 11 to 17 days for my hardware to show up from China. Yeah. You built or purchased a new system and you're waiting on it, huh? Chaka, would you recommend the G413 or the G213? I don't even know. To be honest, I'm not even sure what you're referring to. I mean, I know it's probably a product, but I need more context, a little bit more context. TFAT, firewall, are you running a firewall gateway DHCP server on one of your nodes? If so, the issue might pop up. If the node you shut down is the same as hosting your gateway firewall. Yeah, virtual machine. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, totally could be. P. Diddy. Thanks, Tim. Adding into the host file work. Nice. Yeah, so the only thing that, so now it's going to work on your machine, but nowhere else. And so that's why I was saying, like, do it on your host file for the first, just to make sure it works. But if you want other machines, you're either going to have to update their host file, or if you could do it on, I think you're running pfSense, you can add a DNS entry there so that anything on your local network now points to that. So yeah, you're on your way. You're super close to getting your own website hosted with SSL in Rancher. Nice. Oh man, Chaka subs. Yeah, I don't have that command yet. I totally have a note here to add some more commands for sure. I've been going crazy. I know last time I talked about channel points and how I was gonna get something going for channel points. Well, I have something halfway working, and I have a channel point in there that you probably shouldn't use. And I'm not saying that so you don't use it. I'm saying that because it does absolutely nothing, and I just remembered because it's my test one. I think it even says like, this does absolutely nothing but waste points. So whatever you do, if you have channel points and care about them, don't click on that. And I'm not saying that to click on it. I'm saying it because it's gonna burn 1,000 points for nothing. Yeah. Thanks, it worked. Oh yeah, man, how many problems are we solving today, guys? How many problems are we solving? Man, I think we're 3 and we're pretty early in. DeRocus 2X, thanks, that worked. Installing Windows 10 on UEFI now. Nice, yeah, nice work. Seekian, what networking courses would you suggest for someone trying to learn more about advanced networking stuff? Wow, that's a big question. So I'm not a huge like network guru. I'm sure there are tons of people in here. It depends on like what you're trying to accomplish and where you're starting from. I mean, if you have, are you going for a certification, or you just want to know more about networking in general? Yeah, I mean that's a big question. I can't. Yeah, that's tough because I don't know if I have a recommendation on courses. It depends on what you're trying to do. Are you going for like some Cisco certification or just a general network certification? Yeah, let me know. Ticano just posted over the subs channel on Discord, 15 seconds long. And that's just a fraction of settings if you just want to take a look at it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Sagacity, how's it going? Got my TrueNAS installed on Proxmox. Yes, and you actually did TrueNAS too? Oh man, you are so with the times. You're on bleeding edge now. You're on TrueNAS and virtualized. Oh yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. How'd it go? Did you pass through drives, pass through the controller? Like, how do you have your pool set up? Ghost. I don't know if this, I'm gonna say Ghosty, is it possible to run Kubernetes in Proxmox CT container? I've tried it before, but had missing kernel modules. Wow, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I think, but sorry, I have a mint and it was like stuck to my cheek. You know, I don't know the answer to that, but that would be really tough. I mean, so if you wanted to do that, run Kubernetes in Proxmox and in the CT container, I'm assuming you mean in LXC container. You probably could, because, well, I don't know because Proxmox running on what? Debian. And I think for Kubernetes may or may not have specific requirements for the OS. I usually install it on Ubuntu if I do. But yeah, that's a tough question because I was thinking like, maybe you can, maybe if you wanted to run like K3S, like the lightweight version of Kubernetes, which Rancher made, possibly. I don't know the answer to that. But you know, virtually, I mean, you have a full-on hypervisor right there. Yeah, I mean, you could just install it on Ubuntu. I know you'd rather probably install it on probably an LXC container because then you get, hey, there's a sub, P. Diddy. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And hopefully you'll see a link back here on my Raspberry Pi LED screen because I spent way too much time on trying to make that work again. Well, I spent a lot of time just building the thing, and then this last weekend I spent, I don't know, I probably have an hour and a half into debugging and trying to figure out why it won't work. So it should work. Next 60 seconds. Within 60 seconds it shows up back there. You'll have to let me know. Keep me honest. But anyways, I mean, I see why you probably want to do it on LXC because LXC is probably running bare metal along with your hypervisor. I mean, you could try it. I don't know the answer to that because I don't do a ton of LXC. hopefully. But what I would do is just look at the requirements for Kubernetes for installing a node, and see if it supports the version of Debian that Proxmox is running on, because that's what you're working with an LXC container, I assume. Or you could, I think you can spin up an Ubuntu LXC container. So yeah, but it seems like you have experience in this. I would say, hey, I would ask you the same thing. You know, give it a shot. Let me know, because that's good information. But yeah, I wish there could be more help. But yeah, well, I'll have to see. Maybe someday if I have some time. But you guys know I'm a Docker fan. But LXC probably work. Might have to use Ubuntu though. TFAT, thanks for the response. Oh no, this is Wyatt. No, I'm not. Separate PF Sense box. Had no running VMs on the machine I shut down. One VM shutting the other. Man, this is a tough one to figure out. Yeah, Takano. What does this do? Oh yeah, I forgot I named it that. It says, what does this do? Just a test reward. Do not use unless you want to burn 1,000 points. Yeah. And that's not, I'm not trying to get anyone to press it. Please do not. You'll waste 1,000 points. And you're going to execute some code that you won't even see. It's code behind the scenes that I'm working on to get, there's a link back there on my LCD screen, LED screen. Code that I'm working on to try to do some stuff with lights, so you guys can use points to change things in the environment here. I just haven't had enough time, but I got most of it working, and so I'm writing the code. It's all in Node.js, and wrote the code to connect to Twitch's API, a third API that they now have, which is crazy. Yeah, they have like 3 APIs, and I won't ramble on this forever, but they have like one for PubSub, one for REST, and then one for webhooks. I'm like, come on, like really? I gotta stand up 3 architectures just to do one thing in my channel? But anyways, long story short, I got the Twitch piece working. I just didn't finish up the Philips Hue piece, which I got working, got it authenticated, and the code's running in my channel. It's just not doing anything yet, because I decide what it does when you click one of those buttons. So coming soon, maybe Saturday. Maybe Saturday. I doubt by Thursday, because I have some editing to do. So C. Cassidy, pass through OneDrive, going to rebuild in a few months once I have some more space. Nice. So that's your FreeNAS server. Nice. Takano, I tried to run Docker on Proxmox LXC. Here you go. And it was a complete fail. If you need some custom made ones to install it. Okay. Well, yeah, I've heard you mention that before, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't tried it myself, but that's kind of, I remember you saying that, and I've heard it from, other folks. And I think you tried to do it beforehand, before I think going over to I guess, the dark side to Rancher and Docker. But yeah, would be nice. But yeah, that's kind of Inception to me, like an LXC container that's running Docker that then runs Docker containers inside of LXC. I'm sure it's possible, but that sounds, that makes my brain hurt. Here we go. Easy TSA. LXC containers on Proxmox didn't work for me. Encountered kernel missing error, but I installed Ubuntu and used LXC setup from there. The LXC container, you have to provision CPU and memory in the profile. If setting up Kubernetes cluster, I have a cluster set up with Ubuntu and LXC containers. Nice, yeah, awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, so man, looks like Easy's got it going. He's done it before. Ghost. I have Docker perfectly working in an LXC container, both Ubuntu and Debian, but Kubernetes looks indeed like it's needing some special requirements. Yeah, I'm not sure. I would totally have to Google all this for sure, because I haven't done, especially not Kubernetes inside of an LXC. I'm just curious, like I'm curious about like what makes LXC easier to manage than just a full VM, out of curiosity. Yeah, I'm just so curious because it sounds like a lot of hoops to get working to then run LXC, and it's probably because it's on Proxmox, and then you get snapshots and all of that. But like, you know, outside of that, like what, like let's say you didn't have Proxmox and I just chose LXC, like how would that be any easier than managing just the VM itself? And I'm really asking because I don't know the answer to that. Ticano, I tried a couple of times and I couldn't get it to work. I already had Rancher and such set up. I just wanted a container to have its own IP. Yeah, that's a tough one too, giving containers IPs. Your container needs to be privileged. Look at that. Nice. Ghosty, I can put a small tutorial on Discord later. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I would love to read it too. I need to be more informed on LXC. And I know that, you know, I know a lot of people who use Proxmox use it. I have yet to run into it yet in the enterprise. And maybe that's just because where I've worked, you know, everyone's using Docker Kubernetes. And I haven't run into it yet. The only time I've ever seen it is like setting up Ubuntu and Proxmox. And then of course on the internet, obviously. But like, can you orchestrate like I get it because you're basically like containerizing an OS and it's sharing the kernel, you know, with the host that it's running on. But are there automation softwares, orchestration frameworks out there that can help automate some of this? I mean, outside of, you know, I don't know, like an Ansible or something like that. But maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to figure out like how I could use it in place of something like Kubernetes, and get that kind of orchestration, get health checks, get clustering, you know, and be able to pull down LXC containers. Like, could I build an LXC container and store it in a registry somewhere? Like, because that's part of the awesome part about Docker is build it on this machine, store it in a registry, and go to some other machine and pull it down from the registry exactly as is, immutable, and use it from there. So yeah, I'm curious about all this stuff. I should do some more reading about it too. But I figured I'd ask you. It sounds like we have some LXC experts in here. I'm Lymanson. I'm curious why people are interested in Proxmox versus another virtualization hypervisor. Hey, Xsplade. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. I haven't heard of any business running their VM infrastructure on Proxmox. I imagine most of us are running these Homelabs to learn on-the-job skills. Hey, I'm right there with you. And I'm Lymanson. I totally agree. Like, I haven't heard of anyone, like businesses, running it. You know, most of them are, running VMware or something, or Microsoft Hyper-V. I agree. But large, I guess, data centers and infrastructures may not be running Proxmox itself, but they might be running KVM or a hypervisor that's very similar to it. And so, I don't know. I think I totally agree. And I think more people would run probably. So let's talk about the things that Proxmox has going for it. I think that's easier. And let's talk about the things that, you know, its competitors does not, at least for your own good for at home or whatever. I think the things that Proxmox has going for it is, one, it's open source, it's free to use, it has a web GUI, it does, uses KVM, or it has a great hypervisor on it. It can also do LXC, it can do clustering. So it has a lot of, great features, some of them enterprise-like features too. And you get that all open source, free to use. And so I think for me personally, and I can pass through a GPU, like I can do these really awesome things with it that other hypervisors have either put behind a paywall, don't allow you to do unless you have a certain license, or you gotta have a certain type of hardware. And again, Proxmox has a huge array of hardware support. And so, I don't know. I mean, why do people run Proxmox in their home labs? I think because of those things. Not necessarily that it's building job skills. I mean, maybe it is, but I would argue that even just if you don't know anything about hypervisors and you need to now virtualize something, like it doesn't matter at the end of the day like what the tool it is. It's having that mindset to be able to, I guess, build and virtualize and and thinking about, I guess, virtualization. I don't know. I gave my reasons. I'd love to hear other people's reasons, but for me, it was those things. Enterprise features, great hypervisor. I don't really mind or use LXC in there. It's got a great web GUI, a lot of metrics, easy to back up, runs on ZFS. I can pass hardware through. And so those are kind of, and large hardware support. And none of the features are behind a paywall. So there's my reasons. That's a great question, though. That's a great question, because most people are either doing it for fun and it's not maybe used in enterprises, or maybe it is. Maybe it is used in smaller businesses, and maybe things are starting to change. But yeah, great question. Sorry, I kind of went off on that one. Takano tried unprivileged and privileged, no success. Could be doing something wrong. I tried to run Rancher and LXC and had to run it with security opt. Okay. Divided by zero, business don't trust open source. This is why you see ESXi more often with VM screenshots. Yeah, I totally agree. I agree, because and working in the enterprise too. I mean, I've worked in very large companies and small ones too. That. How do I say this? So I think the way that some enterprises look at it, and I'm not speaking for all, or even places that I've worked at, this is just my observation. Some think about open source as they're not being free, but being a huge hidden cost. And this is not my beliefs. I'm just saying, what I've seen or what I've heard or things that I've been aware of. And so like for businesses, and this is not my opinion, they might think like, okay, we can pay for ESXi. We get a license. Sure, it's expensive. But at the end of the day, we get to call someone. They're on the hook for support. They have an SLA. We have upgrade paths, and all of our tails are covered. And so to pay for that license, and on top of that, there's a workforce out there who are skilled and certified in this thing, right? And so, that's appealing to some businesses to say, I can hire professionals. I can point the finger at some company when something goes wrong. They have to respond in a certain amount of time. If they can't fix it, there's all of these tiers of backups to get for continuity, right? And you're covered. And maybe you have a mission critical business. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying these are things I've seen and observed being older than I used to be. And so then on the other side, you have open source, which is zero cost. Okay, that's awesome. And it didn't cost you anything, but you got to spin it up. You got to have people who know how to use that software, who know it well. What does that support model look like? And a lot of open source companies offer support now, like Proxmox does. But then you have a workforce who might not be familiar or skilled in this certain type of technology. And so those are the things that businesses have to, balance. And I'm not my opinions. I'm just stating things that I've learned, being a little bit older now. And so, and that kind of went off the deep end there. But, so it's not always so much that they don't trust the product itself. It's just like they want to know, like, when things go wrong, like can they get someone to help fix or point the finger at or whatever. Maybe I'm being a little bit too facetious, but just someone to be there to support their product. And if they're running a mission critical business, then they're just kind of like, okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm off in the weeds. But that's what I've observed. Divided by zero, and Dell EMC is more willing to support ESXi on a support call, unlike Proxmox. Hey, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Yeah, I totally agree. I skipped one in there, the Raucous. Any thoughts on XCP-NG open source? I get asked that question a ton. I haven't used it yet. So Lawrence Systems, Tom, his YouTube channel, he likes it a lot. I think that's one of the solutions that he recommends and supports in his business. You know, I haven't had a ton of experience with it. My experience is looking at the documentation and kind of perusing it and saying, you know, does it support GPU pass-through? And for NVIDIA, it doesn't right now. Doesn't mean it won't in the future. So for me, it's a no. And only because of that one thing, because I absolutely need to pass through a GPU for one of the things that I do. If I don't need to do that in the future, or XCP-NG starts supporting that, yeah, take a look at it for sure. But again, it's nothing against, you know, that product or anything like that. It's just like I have a requirement for passing through a GPU, and I can't do it on that one with my NVIDIA. So, but if my requirements ever change, I'll take a look at it. Man, I feel like I went way too far on the, or went too long on the enterprise support versus open source. Because yeah, I mean, that's gotta be a tough call for anyone. I mean, just imagine if you owned a company. I mean, what would you choose? You know, that's a tough one. I guess there are no right or wrong answers. It's like, what do you feel most comfortable with? Penguin Airlines, no feature lockdown like clustering. Yep. DRS, migration. You learn to drive a car. Yeah, that's true. Not to learn to drive a Honda. Good call. Yeah, it's a good metaphor there. Gemlove, my 2-in-1 Dell laptop doesn't have a built-in port for plugging directly into the internet. Okay, so no Ethernet. Is there some kind of adapter I can use to plug directly into the net? At times I have less than 500 megabits and new to streaming. The last 3 months I've been streaming myself and educating myself or even Googling anything. And yeah, so 500 megabits is a lot. So if you have less than 500 megabits, that's still a lot. Oh, that's a small M? No, yeah. Anyways, if you have 500 megabits, that's a lot. But maybe I'm misreading that. But going back to your first question, yeah, you can totally get USB 3.0 Ethernet adapter. So if you don't want to use, so if you're streaming on your laptop and you don't want to use wireless and you want to use Ethernet, a wired connection, you can get a USB 3 or whatever Ethernet adapter that you plug into USB, and then you can plug an Ethernet cable into there. And so that would get you off wireless and maybe reduce some latency. But yeah, I mean, if you really have 500 megabit, you have plenty. But then the second thing you got to ask yourself too is like, how much latency do you have, or how much jitter do you have in there? Because that's something you'll want to look at too. I usually use fast.com. It's by Netflix. That's where I run my speed test, only because it's pretty good, and it takes the ISPs whatever magic they do out of the loop. So try it there. Check it out. Divided by 0, you just end up starting with a 96DX with 5 speed. Yeah, totally. Hey Diddy, what do you use for SSH? When you make your videos, it looks like normal Chrome tab. I've been using Molbak's term so far. Yeah, good question. So when I'm on Windows, I use the Windows terminal, which is Microsoft's new terminal. And then on top of that, I run WSL, which is the Windows subsystem for Linux. And I think last stream we talked about how crazy that name was. And then on top of both of those, I run ZSH. And then even on top of that more, I run all my ZSH or all my ZSH. And so that's how you can make your terminal look exactly like mine if you're interested. And on Windows, if you're on Windows, it's almost exactly like you're on Mac or Linux. And so but when I'm on a Mac, I use iTerm too, because it's what I got started on when I was a Mac, and I just love it. I wish Windows Terminal would work a little bit more like that, but whatever. Windows Terminal's super good, and I'm glad they're making it. And so yeah, that's what I do. And then I have a quick guide on setting up WSL in your terminal and everything, just like mine. It's hidden under like a JavaScript development video, but in that video I help you set up your Windows machine to work just like that. So all of my videos, when you see the little blue and the personal I don't know why I don't switch folders, but I'm always like in the personal folder. That's a combination of Oh My Zish, running on top of Z Shell, running on top of WSL, in Windows Terminal on Windows 10. So yeah, but I need to check this out. Mobax term, I got to check it out for sure. I'm Lymanson. You have some good points for learning about the fundamentals are key, so having a mindset on what and how to virtualize makes sense. It's like learning a new programming language. You may not use it at work, but you can have some of the skills you can learn to translate over to other languages. Yeah, that's definitely a good simile there, I guess. Like or as simile, I think, I forget. But yeah, totally agree. Like, if you understand, I guess, the kind of the fundamentals of what you're trying to do, a lot of it can carry over. People say that about programming, but I'm still like, I mean, even your example there, sometimes when I look at different languages, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on in here until someone starts explaining them. I'm like, okay, patterns, and then like you mentioned, patterns can apply and a lot of the fundamentals apply, but sometimes when I look at other languages, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on in here. But it's usually lower level languages, not higher ones like, like JavaScript or TypeScript or Python. But yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you very much. I'm Lymanson. Gemlove. Also, when I watch Twitch, I have a lag on every stream I watch, even yours right now. I know it's on my end, having a need for stronger internet connection. Yeah, it could be for sure. But like I said, go to fast.com and see like what fast.com. So that's Netflix speed test utility, and it's totally, I trust it more than all the other ones. Not that but I won't go into that. But they created that specifically for people to test their internet speeds without ISPs meddling with the results on other speed test platforms. So anyways, check that out. Hopefully on Twitch, hopefully you have about 10 or 20 up and down together. And if not, yeah, you could have a degraded experience. So I apologize. And especially if you're watching mine now too, I highly doubt you have a transcode option. Twitch gives it to me sometimes. But if you do, and you have a little gear down there, click the gear and drop it down to like 360 or something. And at least then you'll be able to watch. Might be a little pixelated, but you'll be able to watch, stutter free. Sedated. Hey, easy to find a candidate who knows VMware. There are even certifications for it. The story is very different for open source platforms. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm probably about 3 minutes behind, but absolutely. Yeah, I was talking about that too. I totally agree. There's a job force or workforce out there who knows these things. I mean, VMware creates these certifications and it just further cements themselves as a platform. Not that they wouldn't be anyways. Not that they're not a great one, but I always think it's interesting. Like Microsoft does it, Cisco does it. It's like they penetrate the enterprise and then they're like, we'll create all these certifications. They're probably needed, and then they're like, man, there's our 5-year plan. There's our 10-year plan. Because we just trained a bunch of people on our products now, but it's still awesome. So, I mean, companies have been doing that forever. Ghosty, I looked into VMware, but don't even understand their pricing model. Same. I'm there too, and I ran the home version for a while, and I think from 5 to 6 ESXi 5 to 6. Wolfa Leonhardt, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Yeah, between 5 and 6 is kind of when I bailed, because like then they were going to take away a lot of the stuff I use. And I didn't even want vMotion. I didn't want any of that. I was just like, let me use more than 4 cores on a virtual machine. And, they have a limit in place now. And so I was kind of like, well, I have at the time, my server had an 8 core, and I was like, that's not going to work for me. So, but yeah. Jorge Pasada. The thing I hate about some software companies that do that, the code is open source, charge for support model, and it incentivizes poor default configs and not great documentation. Yeah, you'll probably have that. I can see that. I can see that. Go see, I missed that. What license to buy? Yeah, totally. But I can see that. But at the same time, I personally try to defend companies who have open source and also have a support model. mainly, and I'm not saying this goes for all, but mainly because like companies have to monetize something. You know, it's a bad word, and it shouldn't be a bad word, to monetize something, because the company needs to make money or they won't exist. I mean, imagine if you were at home doing something you really loved, and you wanted to do it for the rest of your life, but no one was going to support you, and no one was going to maybe pay for it. Well, you probably couldn't do the thing you love for the rest of your life, because you need to survive. You need to pay rent, you need to eat, maybe you have kids. And so I kind of feel that way with open source and support models too. Because like those companies, in order to exist, they need to make money. And I know monetization and making money is a bad word when it seems like it on the internet, but I'm here to say, like, man, support the companies that you like, because if you don't, they won't be around anymore, you know? But anyways, I'll get off that. But they have to do it right too, right? I mean, it's not just going to be like pay for support and it's like charity. No, you know, hopefully they have some kind of support model in place and things working. But you'll see a lot of companies doing it right. I mean, FreeNAS seems to be doing it right, or IX Systems. And so a lot of companies are doing it right. A lot of open source packages and tools, and I mean, huge things too, like Kafka and stuff like that too. I mean, they're all doing it. So yeah, hopefully a few bad ones don't ruin the bunch, because there are a lot of good ones who have figured out how to continue doing the thing they love, the thing they built from scratch, and that is by monetizing. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. I'm Lymanson. Are you saying you need an adapter that can plug in the Ethernet port? You can buy USB hubs. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Dr. Bell, PhD. That looks like a newer name. Movax term isn't bad. I use it at work for Windows clients. Nice. I will have to check it out now. I've been a fan of just the simplicity of Windows Terminal ever since it released. It might be too simple. It sometimes pains me, because I can split windows like vertically and diagonally or horizontally, but they don't space out the same way that I wish they did it like iTurn2 did, where they'll keep having a screen instead of having a have. It's hard to explain, but anyways. Sedated. One tip for those looking to dive into VMware: at VMUG, VMware Users Group, a subscription will get you all kinds of VMware products for personal use for cheap. Hey, good call there. Good call there. How does one attend or be a member of this group? Let me know, Sedated, because that sounds interesting. P. Diddy, I use it because I like seeing the file structures on the side, since I'm learning Linux, and can help me actually see open files easier. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check it out for sure. Gem Love, good question. I probably do. I'm not tech savvy whatsoever. I need to figure out how I keep my stream from disconnecting and dropping frames, lagging horribly. Yeah, I mean, the first step is going to be, you know, test your internet and verify that it is a problem. And then next is going to be, So yeah, I would test your internet from a wired and wireless machine to kind of narrow it down to that. And then go from there. But Ethernet is always, I don't know, I'm a fan of wires. Not that I want excessive wires, but I'd pick wired anything, Ethernet over wireless any day. Even if it means I have a cord plugged in and it looks gross. For the same reason I switched XCP-NG to Proxmox NVIDIA GPU pass-through. Dorokas, hey, thank you. I've read that in their documentation. I never occurred to me that someone else switched because of that reason. But yeah, good to know. I keep track of that document too. And it's by no fault of XCP-NG, at least according to them. They say, hey, this is proprietary code from NVIDIA. We haven't removed it yet, for probably because they need to support NVIDIA cards somehow. But it looks like they might be doing it, but who knows? Divided by zero, my future E5 2678 V3 build will be running XCP-NG. I'm not running Windows 10 VMs that need pass-through. Nice. Divided by zero. Yeah. I'm super interested. I've flip-flopped so many times on hypervisors, on network firewalls, you name it. So I like to experiment and try new things. I wish I had another piece of hardware that I could spin up XCP-NG on, but looks interesting, that's for sure. Penguin Airlines, MOBA X term is fun. Hey, Bill Nash, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. MOBA X term is fun. Built-in Sigwin and GUI SFP clients. Nice. mRemote-NG seems more mature though for large-scale environments. Okay, mRemote-NG, nice. Yeah, yeah, all these fancy tools. I like I said, I just WSL Windows terminals. I have Ubuntu there, and then I can I can just type in SSH as if I were on a Linux machine. So these are all good to know for sure. Gemlove, really sorry. My net stinks so bad. I didn't get your answer because it kept skipping frames and lagging. Please write it down or whisper it for me. Yeah, or you can join our Discord too, and I can write it to you there. I'll just type this here in case you don't see it. I'll even tag you just in case. But you can join our Discord and continue the conversation there. I think we have a whole channel on OBS. I think I'm the only one that talks in there though, because I use OBS a lot. But yeah, let me know. Divided by zero, I love mRemote-NG. That piece of software is worth its weight in gold. So I assume this is I need to look into this, mRemote. So I assume this is an all-in-one terminal client, SEP client for SSH too. Sounds like it. Penguin Airlines, at my last job, I had almost 1,200 clients managed by mRemote-NG, and I had just an XML to a new engineer with all the inheritance, but without my password and keys. Okay, so you gave me your whole entire config. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds, yeah, I like that. I'm Levinson, thank you so much for helping out. Sedated, I would argue that open source paid support model doesn't necessarily incentivize bad docs or configs. If they did a good job on those, then they don't have to do anything and they get paid. If they do a good job on those, then they don't have to do anything and they get paid. Oh, you mean if they just write, yeah. So they're not mutually exclusive, I think, is what I'm reading from you, is that, hey, you can monetize some kind of paid support and have good docs, or you could monetize and have bad docs. You know, one's gonna help you more than the other. Yeah, I agree. And I think we talked about this before, but you know, sometimes some companies, you know, who have the bad docs, basically say, we'll open a support ticket, and to open a support ticket, you have to have paid support. Yeah, that's not good. And I've seen that. So I'm there with you if that's what you're saying, because that's not a fan of that. Not a fan of that for sure. When they're like, yeah, don't know what your problem is, open a support ticket and make sure you have support subscription. It's like, oh, but divided by zero, but as for XCP-NG not supporting pass-through, it does. It just doesn't support, yep, NVIDIA. Yep, totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I think I was talking about that earlier. Man. Yo, is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't ask him for a friend. I don't think so. It has a weird shaped bun and a tube-like meat in between. So I don't know. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. You don't usually put lettuce on it or anything like that, like you do, you know, unless it's a Chicago dog. Yeah, what do you think? Man, would you consider a hot dog to be a sandwich? VM Sedated, VMUG has a subscription as low as $200 a year that gets you almost their entire enterprise lineup. Oh, nice. It's free for, but then, so the other question is, it's probably for personal use too. I'm asking for a friend. Is that only for personal use and things you don't monetize? But yeah. Bill Nash, sup nerds? What's going on? Oker. Oh, Ronnie Roland, man. Bill Nash, hot dog is a taco. A bad taco, but a taco nonetheless. I like that. I like where you're going at. It's kind of going with the same thing. Single piece of bread, so not a sandwich. Oh, I like that. These are all great. What is a Philly cheesesteak sandwich then? It has similar in shape, bun, but bigger and thicker. That is true. But on a Philly cheesesteak, is it open faced? Is it connected? Or, I mean, I've had them before and I can't remember. It's still on a hoagie though, right? Still on a hoagie. It's not totally cut in totally cut in half. um. Oh, Bill Nash, Philly cheesesteak is an amazing form of taco. Yeah, I totally agree. I need one too. Oh man, it just reminded me, like, you know, this year we don't have the fair or anything. Hey, Clay Crusher, thank you so much. 2-month streak. Wow, thank you so much, Clay Crusher. Wow, thank you for 2-month streak. Thank you so much. Um, but yeah, I was just thinking when you said Philly cheesesteak, I was like, man, you know, at the fair here, they have these awesome Philly cheesesteaks. It's like one of the last big things we eat in this huge round loop we make of eating food, and no fair this year. It's too bad. Too bad. Actually, yeah, it would be going on right now or starting very soon. Yeah. Oh, gaming golfer. Is cereal a broth or a sauce? I think I would go for broth, not a sauce. Because a sauce is something you would, I don't know. I would say I would go with broth. Because when I think of ramen or I think of soup, like name your soup, you know, you have the liquid, which is the broth, and then you have the solid things, which are whatever. Could be cereal, could be potatoes, could be whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, breakfast soup, Bill Nash, good call one. Good call. It is definitely breakfast soup. I agree. I totally agree. It's instead of so it's a sweet soup. So usually what we have salty soups or yeah. So I would say it's a sweet soup. Just don't let it sit too long. Then it gets mushy. You spend a lot of time on food. Oh yeah. It sounds like it. You have a lot of great questions too. A lot of great questions. Oh man. So anyways, Dr. Bell, PhD, by the way, awesome video on establishing VS Code on a server. I've been committing updates to source code via my iPad. Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for too. Because, you know, people might have tablets, and now tablets you can connect whatever. You can connect, you know, Bluetooth keyboards to, and it's fantastic for that. It is fantastic for that. And yeah, you just commit right directly to the repo. Well, you commit there locally, and then you can push it up or you can stash it or do whatever. Yeah, I agree. Like Code Server is really awesome. And there's a few people that are trying to play in this space now. When I found Code Server, I thought they were like unique, but there are a couple other ones out there. But Code Server seems like they're kind of in the forefront, and seems like they've forked the open source version of VS Code to do some of the things that they're doing right now. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Just found out outlet savers are a thing. Just mini 1-foot extension cable for the, I totally agree. I bought like an 8 or 10 pack of them. And all it is an extension cord that's this long. And I did it specifically for this desk because you'll have an outlet either on the wall, or you'll have, you know, an extension cord outlet thing, whatever. People call them surge protectors, but they might not protect from surges. And sometimes you have all those wall warts, even 3, and that thing's at max capacity, even if they swivel. So yeah, I found like I found like a 10 or 12 pack on Amazon for super cheap. It was like $8, and they're basically, like you mentioned, 1-foot extension cables. They're perfect. And I have a little stash of them. I only needed 3, but I was like, oh, this is awesome. Just got like 12 for like, I don't know, $8. Yeah. I just discovered them maybe a month and a half ago when I was redoing some of my desk stuff, and they're fantastic. Dr. Bell, PhD, what languages do you have experience in? Yeah, so oh man, where do I even begin? So I've done .NET stuff. So I've done VB, I've done C#, I've done some C++, I've done some Python, I've done some Go. I do lots of JavaScript and lots of TypeScript now. I've done some Objective-C. I've done Swift. I've done plain old Java. And I've done Kotlin. And I think that's it. So the most language, the most experience I have is probably JavaScript, probably. Just because I've written so many things in nodes and I've done so many front ends, so many APIs and stuff like that. So yeah. And done a ton of React Native stuff too. So, and ton of React front end and ton of Node back end stuff. So, yeah, I'd say I've written the most JavaScript, I'd say. In reality, he isn't talking about programming language. Yeah, it does sound like that. It does. It's kind of weird. Wow, that's quite a list. But I haven't done, like, when I say Go, I've written a couple of utilities in Go, or messed around with Go proxy and stuff like that. And Kotlin I did a considerable amount. Java I did a considerable amount. .NET, so C# I've done a ton. VB.NET I didn't do a ton. I was usually fixing or enhancing older projects at this one company. But all our new stuff was C#. And then JavaScript, yeah, and TypeScript is it's pretty much all I do now, because it's super fun. And you can just write it anywhere, front end, back end, middle tier, whatever. Sorry about that. I'm Lymanson. You need to pick up functional language net, Haskell or Scala next. Yeah, it sounds super fun. Or yeah, F# like you mentioned. Yeah, sounds fun. I've seen them. I know what they are. I kind of understand, what they do and why they exist. I need to apply it to something. Other than just like, a Hello World app. So if I can apply it somewhere, yeah, I would definitely love to. Who knows, maybe I should write my next thing, just force myself to write it in another language, just to check it out. Yeah, it would be fun. It would be interesting for sure. But F#, yeah, .NET experience. Yeah, I had that experience, but I'm not, I don't plan on doing anything in .NET in a while. And it's nothing against the language. Like C# is a fantastic language. And I know like now .NET Core is everywhere and I can use it in a Docker container. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just, man, whenever I write code now for backend, it's always TypeScript or just ES6 JavaScript on Node, because it's so fun and easy. I guess not easy, but it's easy for me because I've done it for so long. And maybe that's why every time I just spin up some new thing is just because I'm more interested in like the outcome versus like getting there. And so, but yeah, I should totally do it. I should totally enjoy the ride and try a different language. But Haskell and Scala, yeah, those I hear people talk about them, and I don't know what to expect. But yeah, I'd like to do more Python too. Python's super. Yeah, I've done some, and it seems to be what a ton of people are doing. I think right now between Python and JavaScript, that's like probably a ton of what people are doing right now. Scala has a bit of a learning curve, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's I've heard similar things. This guy Joe I used to sit by at work. He no longer sits by me because I no longer work there, nor does he. But he used to talk about it. Yeah. Sorry if you hear the kids. They're going wild right outside the window. But yeah, I totally should. I should learn more languages for sure. Because I'm kind of like, I know my languages and I kind of stick with them. But like I said, I'm usually like, I have an idea and I want to like have that idea realized as soon as possible. So I'm just like, okay, no JavaScript, go. And then, but I should for sure. I'm Lymanson. When you pick up a new language, paradigms, it can give you ideas that translates to other languages. Learning one object-oriented programming language after another won't help you learn and grow much as a programmer. Yeah, I totally hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I like I said, I'd love to. And then, also like a lot of the, a lot of the companies I've worked for too, you know, we're building digital products, you know, and so you usually get hired to have a skill, you know, in a certain, you know, language or area of expertise. And so they recruit for that language or that expertise or that, you know, platform, and then you just build digital products using that. So yeah, I need some more time for learning. But hey, skill I'm learning is video editing, After Effects, audio, video. So yeah, I'm almost tapped out on things I can learn or time to take things to learn. Because man, it's trying to keep both going, like work, home plus live streaming YouTube. It's a lot. It's a lot for sure. But yeah, I need to. Lino Blade, hey bro, love your videos. Lots of love from India. Hey, oh hey, lots of love from the US. Hello. What is a good language to start on? Because I was looking at Python. I think Python's great. 100% agree. 100% agree to that. Seems to be, people seem to pick it up really quickly. It runs everywhere, and it's fantastic. And that's what people tend to. And I would also say, like, you know, it depends on what you want to build too. If you want to, you know, it just depends on what you want to build too. Because like I always think about like, what am I going to build with this thing? And so if you want to do front end stuff, you know, you'll have to pick something to be able to do front end stuff. If you want to do back end stuff, you have tons of options there. Mobile stuff, you know, so that's where I kind of, you know, I'm kind of like on the, you know, I'm a software developer, but I've always worked closely with product managers, product owners. And so I always think about like the product that we're creating in the end. And so that's why I guess my lens is a little bit different than just being like 100% I'm a programmer. I'm more on, I guess, like the product side of programming and working that piece, but 100% write code all day long. But I always have, you know, that outcome in mind. And so sometimes, you know, sometimes I just got to go with, you know, whatever we can do to get it out the fastest and the best, obviously, as well. Dr. Bell, PhD, how have your videos been received on advanced container orchestration on systems like K8s? You do a fantastic job explaining open source tools. I thought I was the only crazy one who uses Rancher for K8s in my home stack. Hey, now I've met someone else. I thought I was too. How has it been received? I think pretty good. Before I started making stuff, I don't know. So one, I think it's been fantastic and it's been great. I mean, I've met so many fantastic people, most of who are in this channel. A lot of those people and more too are in a Discord server. So I think it's been pretty well received. I just started doing this stuff on YouTube this year. And so I think, you know, you know, lots of great comments and feedback on all my videos. And so I think it's been pretty well received. I've even heard people. So when I talk about, you know, virtualization and containerization, I felt like, I didn't know this, but I felt some tension, at least on Reddit sometimes. There's some tension about people who want to virtualize and who want to containerize. And so when I posted something way back, and it was kind of popular there, people said in the comments like, wow, I said this same thing like 6 months ago or 9 months ago or whatever, and people like totally tore it down. And I thought that was, one, unfortunate, but two, I thought, well, it's either the way I'm presenting it or people's minds are changing about it. And so, long story short, I think it's been super well received. Hopefully I'm explaining things in the plainest terms possible. I try to explain things, you know, to people who may or may not understand the technology stack. So it's always a delicate balance. Like, do I go all crazy and only use, you know, tech jargon, or do I try to explain it to someone who's maybe not familiar with the technology at all? So anyways, I think it's been great. I've been running Rancher for a long time. I did Rancher 1 before Rancher 2, 100% at home. No one I know in enterprises, well, I've heard of some, absolutely have heard of some, and big enterprises running it internally to manage their own Kubernetes stack. And it's in it where it really is awesome is these companies that are running it are managing multi-cloud, or they're doing hybrid cloud. So partial cloud on-prem, other cloud in the cloud, and maybe multiple cloud vendors like Amazon, Azure, or GCP, so Google. So that's where I think Rancher gets really cool, and is because like you can totally automate your cloud, deploy Kubernetes clusters to internal, to external, to public clouds, anywhere you want. And then you get to manage it that way too. And then you get Kubernetes API and all that. So I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm using probably a fraction of 1% of the features that are in there, but I enjoy it for sure. But yeah, it's awesome you run it at home. Gemlove, thanks Tim. So I looked up a USB Ethernet adapter you told me to look for. Thanks. I see 2.0 adapters and 3.0 adapters. Which should I use for Windows 10, Dell 2, 2-in-1 laptop? I would go with USB 3. I mean, that's just me, especially if it's only a couple bucks more, totally. I don't know, they're newer, you get higher throughput. It can probably do gigabit if you're on a local, if you have a LAN connection. I don't know if 2.0 can do gigabit, I'm sure it probably could. But me personally, I would go with 3. Unless your Dell laptop doesn't have USB 3. So you have to check real quick. An easy way to tell is, does it have a blue USB adapter on the inside? That's not always a foolproof way, but if you look inside the USB and you see blue, that's usually a good indicator that I think it's USB 3. I think that's how it works. Yeah, a lot of Python lovers in here. Yeah. So Python for sure. Python do some things a little funky. All right. If you're coming from other languages, it doesn't always make sense. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, USB 3. Yeah, it's a good call. And it's backwards to 2.0. Thank you for that. And a blue strip in it. Yes, I'm Lymanson. Thank you. Oh, Bill Nash, something about your message got auto-modded. Hopefully I can find it. Oh, there it goes. If you're new to programming language, JavaScript is a great choice. You're speaking my language. Every company needs front-end developers knowing JavaScript to get you in the door. Yep, I totally agree. And it's a very low bar to entry. You can hit F12 on your Chrome developer tools right now, and there's your REPL, or there's your development environment. Type in the console.log, hello world, open, close, parens, enter. And you just wrote JavaScript, and you have your IDE or your environment right there in Chrome. And then once you learn that, then you can take it anywhere, because so many companies, need front end, need back end. They're writing JavaScript front ends. They're writing JavaScript for mobile. They're writing JavaScript for back end, running Node. But yeah, it's all over the place. But yeah, it's a good skill to pick up. It's not strongly typed. So there's that. But I enjoy it. There's tools out there like TypeScript to help you with type definitions. Pinot Noir Superstar. People on Reddit seem to search for the best way to do things. There are so many ways to implement things, and not everyone has the same constraints. It's hard to explain to people who want to start out, to contribute to a flame war. Yeah, I agree. I've had that experience sometimes too. And people always will say, like, what's the best practice, or what's the absolute best way to do this? And sometimes you just can't. Sometimes there might be multiple answers just depending on their own environment. Bill Nash, I don't know why your messages keep getting held. I'm not doing it. Permitted. So Bill Nash, probably using my Guido in a sense. Automod might think it's a slur, but is referring to Guido von Rossum, the author of Python. Oh, there you go. I think that was it. Oh, it was. That was the term. Yeah, and it held up another one too. And I saw it and I read through it really quick, and it wasn't bad at all. I knew you wouldn't type anything bad, but Gemlove, hey, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Thank everyone else in here for helping out too. Dude, trust me, dude. Hey, welcome to the channel. I appreciate it. Yes, I love names that are just like that. They crack me up. I want someone to have hold my beer. Just hold my beer and come into my channel and talk. Man. Yeah, so hey, I'm gonna cut it a little bit short. I just wanted to say real quick, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I got a ton of stuff to do. I got a video coming out this weekend, as you guys know. I gotta finish editing it. I kind of gotta start editing it too. But anyways, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out, for subscribing, for following, and for just being here. I usually say this, and if I don't, remind me, but thank you for being here, spending time, because time is the most precious thing we have. So I appreciate you being here more than anything else. So thank you. Play Crusher, real quick, my other message went through. The streams keeps going down for me, but my question is, why did you switch from pfSense to Sophos XG? That's a long one. That's a long one. Can I do it in 60 seconds? I think so. Oh, hey, I upvoted yours, Takano. Don't worry. I hit it as soon as I could, but for some reason you didn't even have 0. It was just a dot. But I'll upvote it again if I can. But anyways, Clay Crusher. So I've answered this a couple times. I'll try to be brief. So, I tried lots of network firewalls. I've done everything from Windows routing and remote access to Smoothwall to IP Cop to Untangle to pfSense to OpenSense to now XG Firewall, and I'm sure there are other ones in between that I can't remember. And so I think a lot of people ask your question because they think I think something was wrong with one of those other choices, and there weren't. It's just that I had, I guess, more needs than what the other ones were providing me with, or I guess better requirements, or maybe I had higher expectations. But as I switched and hopped around for, from pfSense or OpenSense or Untangle, it was always like, okay, if I get this one other thing, that's the make me switch thing, or if I get this other, this other feature, whatever, that's why I'm going to switch. And so for me at the time, I wanted to switch to XG Firewall because everything was integrated directly into their product. Reporting, deep packet inspection. They had this thing called WAF, or Web Application Firewall, where they had a reverse proxy built in, where you can terminate your SSL right there. So that was really appealing to me, because if I could terminate my SSL on my edge router, then I can send that traffic unencrypted to my microservice, but at the same time scan that traffic too, instead of terminating it further downstream. And then your firewall just passing it through, not knowing anything about what's going on in there, right? Because all my stuff is SSL. So even if someone is launching an attack on me through SSL, nothing really knows about it until that SSL is terminated. So anyways, long story short, I thought that, I love pfSense, might go back someday, but I just really thought that XG Firewall does a really good job of putting all the tools into one product. And my example always on pfSense, something that I thought was suboptimal was, if I want to install Snort ends up becoming this sidecar on top of pfSense that then opens some ports up to look at reports in a Snort report. And pfSense doesn't know about Snort, and Snort doesn't know about pfSense. I mean, they kind of do, because it probably has to install the plugin and do a couple things, but I just felt like it was a bolt-on, and that's no problem. That's not pfSense's fault, because they don't own Snort, but I just like it. So anyways, I just like the tight integration of XG Firewall, and they have a home version. Yes, it is capped at, I don't know, 6 gigs of RAM and 6 cores or 4 cores, but I can do 600 megabit internet, no problem, and with deep packet inspection turned on. So anyways, I love pfSense, and that's why I made that video, because I love it. I think it's a great product. I know some people are like, pfSense, OpenSense, and they're, I don't know, there's the open source and the true open source, I think, but whole argument going on, but I didn't really buy into that. I was just like, hey, pfSense is great. I tried OpenSense, that was pretty great too at the time, but anyways, I digress. But Clay, I hope that helped. So again, just to recap, nothing wrong with everything else that I tried. I just think that XG Firewall is a better fit for me right now. But the one thing they don't have right now is WireGuard and Let's Encrypt. So if someone comes out with a firewall that has Let's Encrypt built in, has some pretty decent packet inspection going on, and also has WireGuard, that's something that would probably make me switch. So anyways, yeah, what would make you switch? Exactly. So that's what it is. That's the game I play. That's the game I play with hypervisors. That's the game I play with network firewalls. It's a game I play with terminals, IDEs, like everything. Like, everything, when something has a killer feature, and if that killer feature means a lot to you, then that's something that'll make you switch. And so right now, for my needs, nothing has made me switch from XG Firewall. I guess that's a good way to put it, but yeah. Dr. Bell, PhD, thanks, Tim. Looking forward to your video this weekend. Awesome. Hopefully, well, yeah, I hope you'll like it. I hope you like it. I hope other ones do too, but yeah. I used to run pfSense inside of ESX for managing internal access as well as complex filtering and routing in my lab network. Nice alternative to NSX and the built-ins. That is awesome. Yeah, to use it internally like a firewall. I totally agree. That's really awesome. That's a really awesome use. That's how I evaluate mine too. That's how I evaluate new ones. I spin them up on a virtual machine, and then their WAN NIC is a LAN internal port on my virtual network. And then I'll put one of my VMs behind it, and then just basically remote into there and evaluate it. So that's why, another reason why I virtualize most of my network appliances, because it's super easy to test them out and get working and set up all your rules before you flip the switch. Flipping the switch is just shut down, turn on. Versus shut down, turn on, brand new, install, go through, migrate, or not even migrate your firewall rules, recreate them in the new system. If I am going to make the switch, I spin it up virtually first in a virtual machine and get it totally going, similar to what you're saying, Bill Nash, and get it going that way. And then I just flip the switch. Yeah. Best way to learn is to try a bunch of different solutions. Totally agree. Yeah, for sure. But sorry, I'm probably rambling, but again, thank you guys so much. I will be back on Thursday. I will see you. Today is Tuesday, right? I'm like so lost on days. It would have to be, it's either Tuesday or Thursday, and it can't be Thursday. I will see you guys Thursday. I'll be here 7 CST, and I will see you then. Thank you so much for everything. Craven, yeah. Where was my song? Craven. I don't know where that song is again, but I love it. And that's not it. I should know this. I should have this ready. I should just have this ready to play at any time. No, I will never find it. I should have this at the top of my list. No. This? Yeah, there you go, Craven. Sorry, I should have this and just put this at the top of the list. So this will be my permanent outro music. But yeah, thank you so much. Have a good night. I'll see you Thursday. Peace out.